Commander Thea Parker stood at the entrance of the ancient temple, her breath visible in the cold air of Kepler 186f. The alien world's red dwarf sun cast long shadows through the crystalline structures that stretched toward the purple sky. After 15 years of interstellar exploration, this was the first sign of advanced civilization they'd found, and it was dead silent. "Base, this is Parker," she spoke into her comm unit. "I'm proceeding inside. Atmospheric readings are stable, but there's some kind of energy signature I've never seen before." The ruins seemed to pulse with a faint blue luminescence that defied her instruments' attempts to analyze it. Her footsteps echoed through chambers that hadn't heard sound in what must have been centuries. The architecture was both organic and geometric, with sweeping arches that seemed to defy gravity and walls etched with scripts that shifted and changed as she passed them. As she ventured deeper into the complex, the energy readings grew stronger. The air itself seemed to hum with potential, making the hair on the back of her neck stand up. Her training told her to retreat, to wait for the full science team, but something pulled her forward, an inexplicable certainty that what waited ahead couldn't wait. The central chamber opened before her like a blooming flower, its ceiling lost in darkness above. In the center, suspended in a column of shifting light, was a stasis pod unlike anything human science had conceived. And inside, through the translucent crystal, she could see a figure. Thea's heart pounded as she approached. The being inside was humanoid but clearly alien, tall and elegant, with opalescent skin that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. What struck her most were the markings that swirled across its skin, similar to the scripts on the walls but somehow more alive. Her hand had barely touched the surface of the pod when the chamber's lighting shifted. The alien's eyes opened, they were like galaxies contained in irises, deep and ancient and aware. The pod's surface became incorporeal beneath Thea's fingers, and the alien woman stepped forward, moving with impossible grace. "I am Zara," the being spoke, her voice resonating directly in Thea's mind. "Last keeper of the Luminari. And you are not what they said humans would be." Thea stood transfixed, her training warring with her instincts. Every protocol demanded she call for backup, establish quarantine procedures, treat this as a potential threat. But there was something in those ancient eyes that spoke of desperate loneliness, of burdens carried too long alone. "I'm Commander Thea Parker, Earth Exploration Corps," she managed to say. How long have you been here?" Zara's expression shifted in a way that transcended human emotion. "By your measurements, just over 3,000 years. Since they came. Since they destroyed everything we had built across 1,000 worlds." She moved closer, studying Thea with an intensity that should have been frightening but somehow wasn't. "We were supposed to sleep until we detected a species capable of helping us prevent their return. Your kind, you were not supposed to achieve interstellar travel for another millennium." The implications of those words sent a chill down Thea's spine. "Their return? Who are they?" "The Void Makers," Zara whispered in Thea's mind. "And if you have already reached the stars, then we have awakened too late. They will have already begun their approach." Before Thea could respond, her comm unit crackled with static. "Commander Parker, we're detecting massive energy signatures entering the system. Configuration unknown, but they're like nothing we've ever seen." Zara's ethereal features hardened with determination. "They are here. And now you, Thea Parker, must make a choice. Your people can flee, hide in your corner of the galaxy until they find you. Or you can help me finish what my people started, find a way to stop them, once and for all." Thea looked into those galaxy-deep eyes and saw not just ancient wisdom, but something more personal, more immediate, a connection that defied explanation. Her response came without hesitation, "I'm not going anywhere. Tell me what we need to do." As Zara's grateful smile illuminated the chamber, Thea realized that this moment would change not just her life, but the course of human history. And somehow, standing beside this last survivor of a fallen civilization, she felt more alive than she ever had before. The crystalline halls of the ancient temple thrummed with warning signals as Thea and Zara raced through its twisting corridors. Above them, through the temple's translucent ceiling, massive shadows darkened the purple sky. The Void Maker's advance fleet had entered orbit. "My ships docked in the eastern quadrant," Thea said, her voice steady despite their sprint. "If we can reach it." "Your vessel won't survive their detection systems," Zara's thoughts flowed into Thea's mind. "But there is another way. The temple itself is more than a building, it's a ship, one of the last great vessels of my people." They reached a chamber Thea hadn't explored earlier, its walls covered in living circuitry that pulsed with increasing urgency. Zara placed her hand on a central pillar, and the markings on her skin began to glow in harmony with the room's systems. "Commander Parker, do you copy?" Her comm unit crackled with the panicked voice of her second-in-command. "Unknown vessels are launching some kind of energy web around the planet. We need to evacuate now." "Listen carefully," Thea responded, watching as Zara's communion with the temple caused entire sections of wall to shift and transform. "Get our people back to the Hyperion and jump to the rally point. I'm pursuing an alternate extraction." "Commander, with all due respect." "That's an order, Lieutenant." "Parker out." She turned off her comm, knowing the argument that would have followed. Her crew would follow protocols, and right now, that was what mattered. Zara's eyes opened, galaxies swirling in their depths. "The temple systems are responding, but they're degraded after so long. We'll have one chance at this." She turned to Thea, her expression intense. "You trust me very quickly, human." "I trust what I feel," Thea replied, holding that starlit gaze. "And everything in me says you're telling the truth." A small smile crossed Zara's luminescent features. "Your species is known for its intuition. Though I must admit, I never expected." She paused, something vulnerable flickering across her face. "The stasis sleep should have left me untouched by time, yet I feel different. These emotions are stronger than they should be." The chamber shuddered as something massive passed overhead. Through the ceiling, they could see one of the Void Maker's ships, a construct of impossible geometries that hurt the eyes to look at directly. "They're beginning their containment procedure," Zara explained, her mental voice tight with urgency. "The same strategy they used against my people, trap us on our worlds, then." She couldn't finish the thought, but Thea saw flashes of memory, entire planets reduced to cosmic dust. "Then we don't let them trap us," Thea said firmly, stepping closer to Zara. "Show me how to help." Their hands met on the control pillar, and Thea gasped as awareness flooded through her. The temple systems opened to her mind, not through any interface she understood, but through Zara's guidance. Together, they began the awakening sequence. The chamber transformed around them, walls becoming control stations, ceiling opening to reveal weapon systems that had slumbered for millennia. But more than the physical changes, Thea felt the growing connection between herself and Zara, thoughts, emotions, and memories flowing between them like a digital dance. "Your mind," Zara whispered, both aloud and mentally, "it resonates with the temple systems. This shouldn't be possible for a human. Maybe your people's predictions about us were wrong in more ways than one," Thea suggested, fighting to maintain focus as another wave of shared consciousness washed over her. The temple shuddered again, but this time from within. Ancient engines roared to life, systems reactivating after their long dormancy. Through their shared connection, Thea felt Zara's triumph and fear, triumph at their success, fear for what was to come. "The neural link between us," Zara said softly, "it's stronger than any I've experienced, even among my own kind. I should sever it before." "Don't," Thea interrupted, squeezing Zara's hand. "Whatever's happening between us, whatever this is, we're stronger together. And right now, we need every advantage we can get." Zara's response was cut off by a massive impact that shook the entire structure. Above them, the Void Maker's ships were moving into attack formation, their energy weapons charging. "Hold on," Zara commanded, her free hand dancing across the controls. This ascension could be turbulent. The temple ship broke free from its millennia-long rest, ancient stone and crystal transforming into something that defied human engineering. As they rose through the atmosphere, Thea felt every system through their shared connection, weapons charging, shield strengthening, jump drive calculating escape coordinates. But stronger than the ship's systems, she felt Zara's presence in her mind. Fear, hope, and something deeper, something neither of them were ready to name yet. As they prepared to face the impossible odds above, Thea realized that whatever happened next, her life had changed forever in these ancient halls. The temple ship broke through the atmosphere, and the real battle was about to begin. Space rippled around the temple ship as it dodged another barrage from the Voidmaker's fleet. Inside the transformed control chamber, Thea and Zara moved in perfect synchronization, their shared neural link allowing them to operate the ancient vessel's complex systems as one. Their attack pattern is evolving, Thea observed, feeling the tactical analysis flow through their connection. They're not just trying to destroy us, they're hurting us toward that spatial anomaly. Through their mental link, Zara shared a flash of ancient memory, countless worlds falling into similar anomalies, entire civilizations vanishing in moments. It's how they feed, she explained, her mental voice heavy with old pain. They don't just destroy worlds, they consume them, use them to fuel their expansion across the universe. The temple ship shuddered as a glancing blow struck their shields. Crystalline displays showed the Voidmaker's ships closing in, their impossible geometries spreading like a web across the stars. But through their neural link, Thea sensed something else in Zara's thoughts, a plan, dangerous but possible. The archives, Zara projected, guiding Thea's attention to a sealed chamber deep within the ship. My people didn't just hide me here to survive. We were gathering knowledge, searching for their weakness. For 3,000 years, the temple's systems have been analyzing their attack patterns, their energy signatures. Another blast rocked the ship. Warning signals flashed across the living circuits as their shields began to fail. But Thea had caught the thread of Zara's plan through their connection. The temporal matrix in the archives, she said, understanding flowing between them. If we can decode it, we might find a way to stop them, Zara finished. But accessing it requires a deeper joining of our minds. The data is too complex for either of us alone. She turned to Thea, her galaxy eyes intense. It could permanently alter both of us. The sharing of minds among my people was sacred, intimate. Do it, Thea said without hesitation. In the days since their first meeting, the connection between them had grown from necessity into something far more profound. I trust you, Zara. Completely. Their hands met on the control pillar as Zara initiated the deeper link. The universe seemed to expand in Thea's mind, 3,000 years of accumulated knowledge flooding through their connection. She saw the rise and fall of the Luminari civilization, felt the joy of their achievements and the terror of their final days. But more than that, she felt Zara's essence intertwining with her own, their separate consciousness merging into something greater. Through their expanded awareness, patterns emerged in the archive's data. The Voidmakers weren't just destroyers, they were parasites, dependent on the energy they stole from other civilizations. And in that dependency lay their weakness. Their dimensional anchors, they thought as one, understanding blooming between them. The anomalies they create, they're not just weapons, they're lifelines. If we can disrupt the frequency. A massive blast threw them against the chamber walls, breaking their physical contact but not their mental connection. The temple ship's shields were failing, and the Voidmaker's fleet had them surrounded. Through the viewport, space itself seemed to be tearing open as their enemies prepared their final attack. But in that moment of crisis, something extraordinary happened. The merged knowledge of human and Luminari consciousness found a solution that neither civilization had seen alone. The temple's systems responded to their combined command, reconfiguring its ancient weapons to match the precise frequency they had discovered. It was never about superior firepower, Zara's thoughts flowed through their link. It was about understanding their nature. And changing our own, Thea added, feeling how their merged consciousness had altered both of them forever. Ready? The temple ship's engines hummed with power as they prepared their counterattack. But even as they faced the immediate battle, both Thea and Zara knew that something far more profound had been achieved. In their joining, they had created something new, a bridge between their species that might offer hope for more than just survival. Together, they thought as one, and launched their attack against the beings that had haunted Zara's people's nightmares for millennia. The chamber filled with blinding light as ancient weapons powered by new understanding lashed out at their enemies. The real test of their discovery, and their newfound connection, was about to begin. The temple ship's weapons struck true, their reconfigured energy beams tearing through the Void Maker's dimensional anchors. Space itself seemed to scream as the impossible geometries of the enemy fleet began to fragment. But victory wasn't as simple as they'd hoped. Through their merged consciousness, Thea and Zara watched in horror as the Void Makers adapted, their ship splitting and reforming into new configurations. What had been dozens of vessels became hundreds of smaller craft, each pulsing with dark energy. They're desperate, Zara's thoughts flowed through their link. We've wounded them, but that makes them more dangerous. Her memories colored the thought, images of other civilizations that had come close to victory, only to be overwhelmed by the Void Maker's death throes. The temple ship's sensors detected a new threat. The smaller ships were combining their energy signatures, creating a cascade effect that would soon overwhelm their defenses. But more worrying was what Thea and Zara sensed through their enhanced perception, a signal, broadcasting across space. They're calling for reinforcements, Thea realized, the knowledge flowing between them. This wasn't their main fleet, it was just an advance force. Through their neural link, they shared the same moment of clarity. The Earth, still developing its interstellar capabilities, would be defenseless against a full-scale invasion. The Void Makers would consume humanity just as they had consumed the Luminari. No, Zara's thought was fierce with determination. I will not watch another civilization fall. Her essence pushed deeper into their connection, sharing not just thoughts but the full depth of her feelings, for humanity, for Earth, and especially for Thea. The intensity of emotion flowing between them was almost overwhelming. In the midst of battle, their consciousness had become so intertwined that it was becoming difficult to distinguish where one ended and the other began. But rather than fight it, they embraced the merger, letting their combined strength flow through the temple's systems. The archives showed us their weakness, they thought as one. But to exploit it fully, we need to get to Earth, Thea completed. Warn them, prepare them. Your technology, combined with humanity's innovative spirit, might give us a fighting chance, Zara agreed. The temple ship's jump drive hummed to life, but the Void Makers weren't about to let them escape. The swarm of smaller ships converged, their energy weapons creating a net of destructive force. Each impact weakened their shields further, and the power required for a jump to Earth was draining their defensive capabilities. Through their link, a plan formed, dangerous, potentially suicidal, but possible. They would need to drop their shields completely, diverting all power to the jump drive. For a few crucial seconds, they would be completely vulnerable. If we time it wrong. Thea's thought didn't need completing. Then we face oblivion together, Zara responded, her mental voice filled with an emotion that transcended species barriers. But Thea, there's something you need to know, in case we don't. Another blast rocked the ship, cutting off her thought. But through their connection, Thea felt everything Zara wanted to say, the depth of her feelings, the way their bond had grown into something neither of them had expected or dared to hope for. I know, Thea responded, letting her own emotions flow freely through their link. I feel it too. Their hands moved across the crystal controls in perfect synchronization. Around them, the temple ship systems responded to their merged consciousness, power shifting from shields to jump drive. The Void Maker's weapons closed in as space itself began to bend around their vessel. In that moment of supreme vulnerability, as energy beams reached for their unprotected hull, Thea and Zara's consciousness merged completely. Whether they would emerge victorious or be destroyed in the attempt, they were no longer alone. In finding each other, they had created something unprecedented, a bridge between species, a love that defied cosmic barriers. The universe twisted around them as the jump drive engaged. The last thing they saw before reality shifted was the frustrated fury of their enemies, realizing their prey was about to escape. But the real battle, the fight for Earth's survival and the future of both their species, was just beginning. Through their joined minds, a single thought echoed: whatever came next, they would face it together. Earth's orbital defense grid lit up as the temple ship emerged from its dimensional jump. Through their merged consciousness, Thea and Zara felt humanity's fear and wonder at their arrival, and the approaching doom that followed close behind. "This is Commander Thea Parker," Thea broadcast, her voice steady despite their exhaustion. "Authorization code Sigma 97 Delta. Earth needs to prepare for immediate evacuation of all major population centers." Through their neural link, they monitored the Void Maker's approach. The enemy fleet was materializing in waves, their twisted geometries tearing holes in the fabric of space itself. But this time, they weren't facing a single temple and two merged minds, they were about to encounter humanity's greatest strength, its ability to unite in the face of extinction. Within hours, the temple's archives had been transmitted to Earth's greatest scientific minds. The knowledge of the Luminari, combined with human ingenuity, sparked a technological renaissance in mere days. Quantum factories reconfigured to produce weapons tuned to the Void Maker's dimensional frequency. Orbital platforms were modified with crystalline technology that could disrupt their enemies' energy signatures. But it wouldn't be enough, not without one final, desperate gambit. The dimensional anchor point, they thought as one, their merged consciousness identifying the pattern in the Void Maker's attack formation. They're creating a massive containment field, larger than anything in the archives. Through their enhanced perception, they saw the truth: Earth wasn't just another target for consumption. The Void Makers meant to make it their new breeding ground, a base from which they could spread across the galaxy unopposed. In the temple ship's central chamber, Thea and Zara stood before the pillar that had first joined their minds. Around them, the combined fleets of Earth and the ancient Luminari temple prepared for humanity's final stand. "What we're considering," Zara's thoughts flowed between them, "it's never been attempted. Merging our consciousness with the temple's core systems could create a feedback loop strong enough to reverse their dimensional technology," Thea completed. "Turn their own void against them. The price would be enormous. Such a deep integration might mean losing themselves entirely, their individual consciousness scattered across the temple's living circuits. But through their link, they shared the same certainty: it was worth any cost to save Earth and honor the legacy of the Luminari." The Void Makers struck first, their energy weapons darkening the sky above every major city. Earth's enhanced defenses held, but they were weakening. Time was running out. In perfect synchronization, Thea and Zara pressed their hands to the crystal pillar one final time. The temple's systems responded to their combined will, accepting them not just as operators but as part of its living matrix. Their consciousness expanded beyond physical form, merging with ancient technology in a way never before achieved. Through their transcendent awareness, they became the temple ship itself. Every weapon, every shield, every quantum circuit operated as an extension of their unified will. More than that, they could feel the connections between dimensions that the Void Makers exploited, and how to seal them forever. The final battle erupted across Earth's orbit. The Void Makers, sensing the threat, committed their entire force to the attack. But they faced something unprecedented: human determination and Luminari wisdom, merged into something greater than either civilization had achieved alone. The temple ship's weapons lashed out, not just destroying their enemies but unmaking the dimensional tiers they used to exist. Through their expanded consciousness, Thea and Zara guided Earth's defense fleet in perfect coordination, each shot striking with devastating precision. As the Void Maker's fleet began to crumble, their ancient enemies attempted one final, desperate assault. They turned all their remaining power into a single beam, aimed at Earth's core. But the temple ship was ready. Drawing on their merged power, Thea and Zara initiated the final sequence. The temple's systems responded, transforming their combined life force into pure energy. The void that the Void Makers had used to consume so many worlds turned back upon itself, creating a cascade effect that rippled across their entire fleet. In that moment of ultimate transcendence, Thea and Zara shared one last, pure connection. Their love, defying the barriers between species and consciousness itself, became the power that sealed Earth's salvation. The Void Makers' fleet imploded, their dimensional technology collapsing in on itself. As the light faded from Earth's sky, the temple ship's systems began to stabilize, and miraculously, two distinct consciousnesses emerged from its living circuits. Changed, expanded, but still themselves, Thea and Zara found each other in the temple's control chamber. Their neural link remained, a permanent bridge between their minds and hearts. "It's over," Thea whispered, both aloud and mentally. "Really over?" Zara's galaxy eyes shimmered with emotion. "No, my love. It's just beginning." As Earth's fleet surrounded them in formation, Thea and Zara stood together at the temple's viewport. Below them, humanity was already incorporating Luminari knowledge into their civilization. Above them, the stars beckoned with new possibilities. They had created something unprecedented, not just the salvation of Earth, but a bridge between species that would reshape the galaxy's future. Their love had transcended physical form, merged with ancient technology, and emerged stronger. Whatever challenges awaited them among the stars, they would face them together, human and Luminari, forever joined in mind, spirit, and heart. The temple ship turned toward the rising sun, carrying within it the seeds of a new era for both their peoples.